Yo, 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 yo! What's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads out there? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman?
How the hell are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Ready to get baked with you, though.
Yeah, we've got something to celebrate tonight. It's Mr. Weedman's big 50.
Oh, the
It's his
50.
birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Weedman.
Thank you, Mrs. Weedman. I'd like to say thank you to you and O-Dog, our daughter, for making me a delicious dinner tonight.
Yes.
It's a bummer having a birthday on a Monday, though.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
You know what's great, though?
What?
I get to record on my birthday, and I wanted to, so I'm so excited. But I did have a great birthday weekend because I got to spend it with you, our son Paulie, who was in town, O-Dog, and Yuki at the beach on Friday.
Yep.
That was special. We have not done that. Just the four of us and an extra 5. I have to count Yuki, the dog. 5 of us, but especially 4 of us spending quality, amazing time together. It was just
a great day.
It was. We got to the beach early and we stayed till 5, right? We were
Something
there,
like that, yeah.
and we didn't move. I think Paulie said he read 100 pages of his book.
We played in the water. He swam with us.
Yeah.
We were in the water.
Yuki was in the water.
Paddleball.
Yeah, paddleball. It
Ran
was
the
just
dog up and down the beach.
It was a very, very special day.
It was great.
And we have tons of pictures, so I'll always remember it being a very special birthday weekend. And we came home that night, and some people came over, and we drank, and we smoked. And Mrs. Weedman smoked a blunt that was rolled with Majin Fajita flower, Majin Fajita keef, and her first hash blunt.
Yeah.
First time we smoked hash.
It was fun to watch it.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours brought a friend of his over, and this guy was super, and he said he speaks Turpanese. He was great. I loved him. So his name was Ben, and Ben called his girlfriend and said, "Bring me some stuff." So his girlfriend showed up with a dab rig and some dabs, and he took the.
You dabbed out of the Zenko too. You did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did fresh. You did fresh
I
hash.
took really tiny.
But you still did it.
Hits.
So you took it was your first experience.
I was
with
pacing
hash.
myself because we were smoking all sorts of
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, we smoked a lot.
But it was fun. He took the hash out and put it onto some parchment paper and rolled it and then it was too sticky, he said, so he added the hash, the keef to it to kind of make it less tacky, and he rolled it into like a little like a noodle, like a long skinny noodle, and laid it across the top of the joint before he rolled it or the blunt. And
we smoked.
It was quite yummy.
We smoked papers from our friend Crop King Blair, and we smoked Jungle Juice, and we still had half of it. He rolled a big one, so we saved a little bit for the show. And I just lit it up, so we're smoking it during the show. We're gonna get pretty. Just had me going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I instantly knew it was a sativa because Mr. Weedman was getting lit up, and it was like, okay, no more, Mr. Weedman.
Yeah, but I had smoked.
He got to about a level 8. And we don't want him to get to
I was
10.
actually about a 9.5, I think, at one point. I was sweating. I was going 50 miles per hour. I was ready to run raps. But also, we had smoked a joint before. Mm-hmm. Just a straight up, we smoked a strawberry Kush breath before, which was a total indica dominant strain. And then we took hash and we put in the Zenko, and I probably ripped 3 hits, nice hits. And then we were all just talking and bullshitting, drinking, having a good time. And then he goes, "You want me to roll a blunt with some hash in it and some keef? You got keef?" I'm like, "Of course I got keef."
No, don't do that. Don't do that. we don't want that.
And he rolled it.
It's so smooth.
Oh, very smooth. And he rolled it, and we lit it up, and that thing, it was only like 6 of us out of the 10 people out here that were smoking, because I think everybody else was either too drunk or too stoned as it was. And I enjoyed it because I hadn't had one of those in a blunt in a while, rolled something like that in a while. I've had them in joints, but not a blunt. So in this blunt, these Crop King papers roll so smooth, and smoke so smooth. So we saved a little bit for the show because I wanted to see how we would do on this during the show, especially Mrs. Weedman. And I wanted you guys.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So, so it's a 50 birthday celebration. I'm super psyched. I'm turning 50. A little reminiscent.
No, you turned 50.
I turned 50. That's right.
It's no longer a thing in the future. You're 50, Mr.
50.
Weedman.
I know.
50.
Gosh, half a century old.
Crazy.
So, but you made me a nice little birthday cake too.
Yeah.
I thank you. A nice little sweet little cake with some cupcakes around it, and everyone sung me happy birthday, and I appreciate it. Made me almost cry. A little tear came down. So
all right, I'm going to stop smoking that because I might not be able to see straight.
I I will
save it. Don't
let
throw it
burn.
out.
I know, I'm gonna let it burn a little bit. Make a little incense burn.
There you go.
What else? Oh, we're watching the Netflix documentary about Woodstock 99. Now, I saw a documentary about the 94 one, a short one that was the Mud Pit, and then we watched a small little like maybe like a 2-hour show on the 99 episode and really saw some things. This one though goes deep, and we'll be on episode 3 tonight. It was 3 episodes. If you're a 90s, lived through the 90s and heard about what happened, or maybe you went to Woodstock and you listened to our show, one of the 3 you went to, but watch that documentary and you really see how crazy, man, it was like, woo. Here's the thing about that. In 99, you had some of the hardest bands play at Woodstock. Rage Against the Machine, Metallica, you had Kid Rock, you had Limp Bizkit, you had Korn. And Korn, Limp Bizkit, and Kid Rock at that time in 98, 99 were like 3 of the largest newish hard rock bands, but they were in like their like prime. I mean, they were
Oh, yeah.
And those bands would just crush stages and crush pits. And Woodstock was supposed to be about peace and love and kindness and happiness, and this wasn't about peace and love. This was about fucking
party and just get whacked.
Just get whacked and destruction. I mean, I think people went there thinking it was going to be like that, but boy, the bands you had play were nowhere near the style of bands that they had in '69. I mean, if you would have had that, it would have been a totally different type of festival. This was a rager festival, and it ended up in rage also at the end. So I won't want to ruin it for everybody, but I like it. So, but yeah. So you ready to start the show?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Diet weed. Do you believe there is such a thing called diet weed?
Maybe it doesn't induce munchies?
There is a cannabinoid, and I've talked about this a little bit, but this is a little deeper, some more research, loaded with THCV. Okay? And it works as an appetite suppression. You do see some newer edible companies out there, or not newer edible companies, newer edibles from edible companies making edibles with THCV in it, and basically saying it helps, like, not get the munchies, but also helps you lose weight.
Oh,
it's an appetite
I need
suppressant.
some of that. Now that I'm 50, it's like, whoo.
So, how does cannabis suppress the appetite? The endocannabinoid system, the ECS, of the body is a system which the cannabinoids in the plant matrix interact with. By direct or indirect stimulation of its receptors, it produces different physical and medical effects on the body. The mechanism for appetite increase, known as munchies, is modulated through the CB1 receptors. THC activates the CB1 receptors, which then stimulates the appetite. While there is still limited research on the mechanism, this remains the accepted explanation for this effect. Strains with large amounts of CBD along with THC can counter the mechanism of the CB1 receptors. This is because CBD acts at the CB2 receptor, which inhibits the action of the CB1 receptors. Okay? Strains with an increased ratio of CBD to THC have a high tendency to slow the urge to eat while high. THCV is another cannabinoid known to be effective in curbing increased appetite. Much like THC, THCV also interacts with the CB1 receptors. However, its action is different. THCV acts as an antagonist at both the cannabinoid receptors in the body. This simply means that it gives an opposite effect to that of THC in the body. As THC stimulates the pleasure of eating food, THCV acts to block these reward centers and make food less desirable. This is the reason why cannabis users are experiencing weight loss more than those who do not use it. The question is why strains should one use to facilitate the appetite suppression? Understand something about edibles you're seeing in the market right now. I would say, and I'm not going to guarantee it, but I would say a lot of that THCV is not coming from the cannabis plant.
Synthetic.
I would say.
But if you're a majority of it, what you're taking in is organic, and then you've got that little bit of synthetic.
I'm just letting people know.
Might be better than taking drugstore weight loss pills.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely. But there are some strains that will suppress your appetite that you can smoke. Those that have a high CBD content, which acts through the CB2 receptors, will also have cannabis strains with high THCV content, which acts as an antagonist at the CB1 and CB2 receptors. Cannabis strains with high CBD content. Harl Tissot. Harl Tissot is a special hybrid strain that derived from two unique parents with high CBD percentage. Harlequin is a special CBD dominant strain that also has very little THC content. Sour Tsunami is the other patient and has a high CBD content like Harlequin. How you get Harley Tissot is gotten from a merger of both parents' names. Why'd you have to make it so hard to say?
I think you're really high.
The CBD characteristic of Harley Tissot has made it very popular in medicinal marijuana for relaxation of patients with euphoria or paranoia.
You're so high.
I'm very high. The high CBD content through its effects of the CB2 receptors will help to suppress appetite tremendously. Whew. Canna Tissot. The strain is also similar to Harlequin, as Sour Tsunami is one of the parent strains. The strain is known for its high CBD content and unique earthy and sweet flavor. Remedy. This is the most popular strain used to calm an overexcited appetite. It's hybrid gotten from a cross Afghani skunk and cannatonic, which I'm cannatonic right now, which caused its high CBD content and low THC content. Remedy has little or no psychoactive effects, while giving maximum relaxation and calm to its users. Cannabis with the high THCV content. Durban Poison. Very, very good strain. If you high on overexcited appetite or you're looking to shed some weight without stopping your cannabis, look no further. The strain has an energetic high that can promote productivity with very little or no euphoria. This is modestly due to the high THCV content, which gives the entourage effect coupled with THC, CBD, and other cannabinoids. Power Plant. This is a powerful strain. I've never even heard of this strain before, as the name suggests, which is from a long line of African landrace sativas. It could just be the answer to all your prayers towards resisting all junks that you use to quench the hunger pangs. The African strain is known for a spicy and peppery aroma. This helps in keeping the sense of their toes and not rumbling stomach. It also has a high THCV content like Durban Poison, what makes it an excellent for curbing appetite. I want to try that strain. If anybody knows where I can find that power plant, I want to try it. Moby Dick. This is a popular cannabis strain that is known for sweet, citrusy taste. The unique strain doesn't promote the onset of munchies like other strains. It gives an energetic and elevated feel without the unnecessary need to eat all you see. This is due to the high THCV in the strain, which makes Moby Dick perfect for suppressing appetite. Jack the Ripper. The special strain with a unique name has a high THC content of high THCV content as well. Its THCV content can rise as high as 5%. Wow. Which is complemented by its lemon scent to promote satisfaction. One characteristic known that Jack the Ripper that it promotes an excited state which is expressed with a talkative mood. Ooh. So this is one more called Red Congolese. This is another strain with African heritage that possesses a high THCV content. It has a strong psychoactive effect, which is mostly targeted toward I like this. I like the euphoria psychoactive effect that some of these strains give you, like that real, like where you feel like you're just floating, like on a cloud, and you just see a bunch of stuff moving around. I do like that, which is mostly targeted at improving creativity and focus. Users of the dynamic strain are therefore more likely to indulge in physical activities like sports, hiking, and painting. Man, we need to get some of that when we go hiking on a trail or something like that. It sounds like fun. Which they're less likely to be interested in exploring the contents of the fridge all the time. Sweet. So that's just about THCV and some strains to smoke that can, if you get the munchies and you don't want them anymore, find different stuff to smoke.
Right.
So another good article by High Times.
Yeah. I have one about indicas and sativas for dummies. Why are you calling me a dummy? There are a few eternal debates intertwined with cannabis at the moment. One that stands out is the concept of indicas and sativas. Do these categories even make sense? When it comes to indicas and sativas, I think it's fair to say we could do a little better. And I offer not just the idea we can do better, but a solution. I think we should move on to referring to cannabis as Afghani or equatorial, as in the equator. It's a lot more accurate representation of what 99% of the marketplace consists of. If you're the ruderalis, which is so I had to look this up. What is a ruderalis? It is a low THC variety, subspecies, or species of cannabis, which is native to Central and Eastern Europe and Russia. So, if you're the ruderalis guy that needs to be offended by something, go back under your bridge. Nobody wants your pot. I remember when an empowered young bud tender got a lot of flack for a video where she highlighted how stupid the whole Indica Sativa debate was. A lot of people were really sad she made them feel like dum-dums. She got a lot of shit because of their sensitivities, but she was spot on. You can't even find her original post anymore, and I won't share it to save her any more drama and bullying. Not that she needs saving. I guess she was a pretty strong personality, right?
I like what he wrote or she wrote in his article, though.
I know, I edit. Not everything reads well without...
I like it, though. A spicy meatball.
She was a spicy meatball. But her struggle stirred something back up in me. I've dealt with the same frustrations she did. I was just a pinch more chipper about it. I've been working at the Cannabis Buyers Club of Berkeley since 2009 and will still jump on the counter in the morning if an extra set of hands is needed due to a couple of call-outs or whatever it might be. I had turned off my frustrations early in my career on this subject. I would speak to the cannabis in 4 categories that were indica, sativa, and hybrids leaning in either direction. Eventually, I'd try and work a little education into the process because it all felt so bullshit. When you talk about things like the Hippie Trail, Super Sativa Seed Club, and other stuff that backbone the early heat seekers genetics lines, a lot of it is going to fall into major equatorial or Afghani. Even today, what's the bulk of what we spoke? Just hybridizations of that stuff. All these indicas that we're puffing on, for the most part, are of Afghan origin. Are there some high mountain Kush phenos from the other side of the Pakistani border in the mix too for this discussion? Sure. But it's predominantly associated with Afghanis, so it keeps it a lot more simple to just use that as the umbrella term. As for everything else we smoke, you'll find a lot of genetics pool outside of Afghani are coming from places generally close to the equator. The southern Indian city of Kanyakumari.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
said that pretty good.
Is about 560 miles north of the equator. The Thai beach town of Narathiwat is only 430 miles from the equator. Even Tapachula, Mexico, is only about 1,500 miles from the equator. But the system doesn't always work. Like in India. India is not far from the equator at its southern tip, but the genetics it's known for are coming from thousands of miles away in its mountain region. It all seemingly makes sense, right? To help me articulate this great idea to the masses, I knew I needed mascots, so I created Equatorial Ed and Afghan Annie to help move the masses away from saying indica or sativa. Umbrella terminology tends to never be perfect, but in this case, I was generally satisfied with how much could be categorized within the scope of these characters. We reached out to the Pot Prince of Bel-Air to get his take. In 1997, Todd McCormick, a medical cannabis patient and childhood cancer survivor, was arrested with 4,000 plants. After serving his bid in the early 2000s, he returned to the scene and in recent years has focused on preserving old-school genetics like roadkill skunk. McCormick noted the question in itself is an excellent clarification that most people don't understand, but he prefers to use the term northern rather than Afghani. The reason I go with the word northern rather than Afghani is because the Hindu Kush mountains are freaking huge, and only part of the Himalayas are located in Afghanistan, McCormick said. I believe that a lot of us use Afghan as a default genetic for all northern cannabis, but I think we are sorely mistaken. McCormick also spoke to the India part of the debate I brought up. All of the more northern varieties of cannabis from India have the faster flowering broad leaflet, dense buds to protect the seeds from cold, and these characteristics are not only found in Afghanistan, McCormick said. In southern regions of India, cannabis indica have narrow leaflet, equatorial, tropical, long flowering characteristics of loose, spindly flowers with a long flowering time. So, obviously, this debate is long from over. But it's interesting. I think that it would be neat to kind of start paying attention to that.
We've talked about it a lot and over the few years we've been doing this show and over a lot of episodes about sativa and indica and hybrids. And we've also said the word sativa, indicas, and hybrids a lot in all of our shows.
Because that's what most people know, and that's how packaging is written.
Right. It's easy to make it as a classification, but we've taught about all of it so many times, and it's still hard to move away from that terminology to explain the kind of plant you're smoking. Because it is, cannabis sativa is just the plant. Mm-hmm. It doesn't tell you how much THC content or CBD content that plant is going to produce that you plant in the ground. It's just the plant. It's just that is the genus of the plant. So, I mean, it's so hard because it's so drilled in our head. It's on pamphlets everywhere you go. Indica puts you to sleep or makes you relax on the couch, as we call it. Sativa makes you run around and do laps. Hybrids are a mix of the two because some people like to feel kind of both. Rudierless plants are the plants that you see now that are all being helped to be made into auto flowers. It's just because the fast response time of growing, because they grew in Siberia and they only had 2 months. Boom, done. Got to go. So that's why you see autoflowers are 60 days. Uh-huh. So there's so much to be taught, but I think for consumers, like people going to dispensaries that aren't well versed and well knowledge and just want to smoke something, it was easy to explain it that way. Didn't have to go into, if someone say, hey, I'm going to a concert tonight, I just need a joint that's going to get me going. Oh, here's a sativa for you. Here's Durban. Here's Jack Herrera. Man, it's going to get you going at the show. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I'm having trouble sleeping. I'm out of town, sleeping at a hotel. I sleep like shit at hotels. What do you got for sleep? Oh, here's an indica strain, Northern Lights. This will put you to sleep.
Right.
So it was just easy. Oh, here's a hybrid. This will get you both. So it's just, I don't know. One day, I think, as weed becomes more and more and more in the public mind, there's new stuff to read about. People are really want to read more about it. They'll learn more. Listen to podcast, whatever. How do I know? I still call it sativa, indica, and hybrid myself. So, how big will legal weed get? I don't know. Let's find out. Even volatile economic times, weed industry analysis and pundits are bullish about the future of legal weed. Predictions of an American legal weed industry with total retail sales as high as $100 billion by the end of the decade abound. How realistic are such numbers? Projections about weed market revenue are uniquely difficult. There are lots of moving parts in play, with state regulations and taxes changing rapidly and the looming prospect of federal legalization coming in as yet unknown form. But we think anyone who projects a $100 billion weed market by 2030 is looking through a rose-colored glasses. Illegal weed beats legal on price. We all know that. Everyone still has got a plug. If you didn't have enough money to go to a dispensary that much, you call your plug up, you probably get it $20, $30 cheaper. So it is cheaper. You don't pay taxes on it. You don't fucking have to pay all the cost to grow it and payroll and labor cost and this and that and that. So we all know. I mean, the traditional market still does, I think, just as much, if not more, than the legal market. So legal weed does not tend to have fancier packaging, label, and safety certifications too. But the illegal weed does not have, and some consumers are willing to pay extra for these things. But nobody can tell from smoking, vaping, or eating the product whether it's legal or illegal. For most price-sensitive consumers, the advantages of legal weed just aren't worth the extra money. Falling legal prices can limit revenue. As legal weed gets cheaper and more competitive, revenue is unlikely to grow by much, even as the quantity increases. So as we see prices fall, don't forget, though, sometimes what happens when you see falling prices, Mrs. Weedman, you know, quality goes down, right? Because they're just giving you shit.
Right.
So remember that. Revenue equals price times a quantity. So if quantity rises because prices fall, then the total size of the legal weed market, as measured by total revenue, could increase modestly, stay the same, or even decrease. Plus, traditional market weed isn't going anywhere. Even if illegal weed businesses can't readily adopt all the same innovative technologies and practices as legal ones, they can and will take advantage of some improvements, such as more lighting, more productive strains, and better yields. Because you pay somebody to build a breeder to make you a strain, money talks. So, why an overhauled cannabis market matters. We should all care when analysis overvalue an industry. Just trust me, look at the stock market of cannabis stocks. They overanalyze big time. Bad information leads to bad investments, and a lot of people lose their money. Ooh. Investment hype diverts money from productive investments in less glamorous parts of the economy. Ooh, good profitable companies in other industries who compete for the same funders have a harder time finding the money they need to grow. Very interesting article. We've been talking about it a little bit, about how the cannabis industry is doing and how the legal market is doing. And in a lot of states, especially your West Coast states, prices have fallen. Michigan, prices have fallen. I mean, you can get I said in the last episode, there was a guy in Oklahoma selling $20 ounces, 2 for $40.
2 for 40. I wonder if it was real crap.
You're still paying.
Is it because it's
who knows? But
so much.
Somebody's gonna buy. Someone's gonna buy an ounce for $20. I don't care. I don't care if it's lower than the lowest on the plant buds. Someone will still buy it for $20, and someone will still get high. And probably not care that it had the greatest flavor,
right,
or it smoked smooth, or had all these great terpene. Man, those people just want to just get a fucking good buzz on. For $20, get an ounce.
Why not? Right?
You know how long an ounce would last somebody like me and you?
Yeah.
For $20, it'll last us a couple weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks.
That's it. An ounce.
Maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. We smoke a lot of weed now.
Oops.
So, I don't know. Just the market's going all over the place right now. Just learn to grow your own. That's all I got to tell you. Grow your own fucking weed. Learn to grow your own medicine so you don't have to buy it from anybody and you know what you're putting into it. You don't have to go to a dispensary. You don't have to go to your plug. Find a collaborative. Find one person that'll grow 10 plants and you each get a plant. And that plant will last you, and then just recycle. Invest in it. If you don't want to take the responsibility to grow, find somebody and pay them to help grow. Buy their next round of seeds for them for $100 and get 10 good feminized seeds and say, grow these plants for me. And then you get to keep some of the yield for yourself, and I get to keep the rest.
There you go.
You're not doing anything illegal.
Right.
There's nothing illegal about that.
Right.
You're buying some stuff to help grow, just like I'm helping a buddy of mine grow some tomatoes.
Tomatoes?
Tomatoes. You know what a tomato is?
I don't know. What is
It's half mater, half potato. You know what a potato is?
Half potato, half
mater.
Shut up. Get out of here. Shut up.
This is you. This is a good one, too. This is another good article.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Brands and retailers should look to cannabis to stand out in brick and mortar. While the digital transformation of the past 10 years, accelerated by the pandemic conditions of the past 2, have been beneficial in many ways for brands and consumers alike, it has also created new sets of disparities, winners and losers. For brands struggling to bounce back their brick and mortar operations in this recalibrated marketplace, they may be best served taking a cue from an unlikely place, the cannabis industry. The drive to capitalize on the booming online marketplace of the last couple of years helped bolster sales for consumer packaged goods brands with an established digital footprint. But as a battle for customers consolidated and intensified, the investment needed to compete became unsustainable for many small and medium-sized businesses. Prices soared, and return on ad spend plummeted. One study showed that for every 92 marketing dollars spent, only converted to $1 in sales.
When you and I were talking about that earlier, and when I read that article about $92, almost $100 to make a buck.
Yeah.
Oh my
Crazy.
God.
For tech giants capable of eating massive losses, these numbers enabled further commodification of web sales. For smaller brands, they had to seek alternatives. Influencer marketing seemed like a logical, emerging solution, an organic way of reaching customers using channels they trust. When you factor in that some studies show nearly 50% of consumers rely on influencers to make informed shopping decisions, this approach may help smaller brands make up ground. Oh, Mr. Weedman's burning my computer. Hang on a second.
You gotta have that. You gotta have that
I
last
gotta have
hit.
one more
It's
hit.
the last
Oh,
hit.
it's so tiny.
I know it's the
I'm
last
gonna burn
hit.
my fingers.
I know. Hit it. I want you. That's
Oh.
it. Good. That's it. Because it's down to the end. Sorry, everyone.
I burned my lip.
That's it.
No. Oh,
That was the
I
last
melted my upper
the
lip.
last hit,
That's
though.
great. Awesome.
I had to have you have the last one.
Thank you,
Anyway.
Mr. Weedman. I appreciate it. Tasted good, but my lip burned. All right. Where were we? For smaller brands, they had to seek alternatives. All right. So then we were talking about influencers. And now I got a piece of hair in my mouth. What the heck? Okay. So they went to influencers, right? When you factor in that some studies show nearly 50%, this is crazy, 50% of consumers rely on influencers to make informed shopping decisions.
That's a crazy one,
nuts
too. When I
alone,
read
right?
that, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah. This approach seemed to maybe help smaller brands make up ground. Yet with some influencers' fees topping $10,000 and tough to measure return on investment or on sponsorships and endorsements, this avenue is fraught with risk. It's risky. 10 grand? Come on. And as customers grow increasingly dubious of inauthentic posts from their countless lifestyle vloggers in their feeds, perhaps catalyzed by recent guidance from the FTC, who is now mandating widespread hashtag ad disclosures. So now if it's influencer, if you're being paid to talk about a product, look at the hashtags. So if you want to know if it's an authentic, just an influencer saying, I love this product, check the hashtags. If it says hashtag ad, they're being paid to tell you that. So maybe don't put so much weight into their opinion.
Hashtag what?
Ad. AD. Ad.
Okay.
It's an advertisement.
Right. So look at their hashtags and it says hashtag ad.
Ad.
Got it.
Then
I never noticed that before.
And the FTC mandated that.
Wow.
Okay. So businesses are feeling paralyzed in where to place their marketing dollars. 8 Decades has that struggle right now. Where do we want to put our dollars? How are we
100%.
going to market? Do we do social media? Do we hit the pavement? Do we find the retail? It's tough to be a small business
Yep.
in a world of social media presence.
In a world
right?
of major corporations that own everything.
Yeah. The rapid growth of influencer marketing as a marketing channel gets at the heart of a valuable truth. When a consumer trusts an informed recommendation, they convert. Luckily, small and medium-sized brands and retailers across industries already have a built-in resource, their frontline employees. As businesses look for a resurgence in their brick-and-mortar operations, they need to recognize how many influencers are already on their payroll. Taking a cue from pioneers in this field, cannabis sellers can be a great place to start. The cannabis industry is a study in resourcefulness and adaptability. When Colorado first emerged as the first legitimate market for adult use cannabis, the industry was and continues to be governed by a complex patchwork of state and federal legislation preventing traditional forms of advertising or consumer outreach. Yes, and we just talked about that now. Not only can you not do anything cannabis related on certain platforms of social
I
media,
got booted off TikTok.
on Google, they just don't want cannabis related anything out there. TikTok, especially.
It's crazy.
Facebook
in this day and age.
and Instagram. You can't pay for an ad, but you can post, right?
This day and age.
It's crazy. I just totally forgot what I was talking
You're
about.
talking about Zuckerberg being a jerk. Oh, wait, sorry.
Advertising. Yes, traditional forms of advertising. As a result, cannabis brands, retailers, and their employees had to become their own form of influencer. bud tenders became experts within their field and became educators as well as salespeople. A combination of uninformed consumers, a vast selection of products, and a wide open competitive landscape meant the role of the bud tender as a trusted advisor quickly became imperative. Without the luxury of digital commerce afforded to traditional brands and retailers, cannabis businesses ostensibly needed to build from nothing. As retailers and traditional consumer packaged goods verticals now struggle to build back their brick and mortar sales, despite some encouraging signs in the post pandemic world, they'll need to leverage every tool at their disposal, and it begins with their employees. Despite the digital transformation's profound effect on how and where we shop, the fact remains that in store shopping accounts for more than 85% of retail sales. Furthermore, 46% of consumers note that they prefer to shop in store rather than online. For the cannabis industry, it was never much of an option. Brick and mortar sales were and are the cornerstone of their businesses. To stand out in a crowded field, they had to focus on service. Brands and retails need to empower and incentivize employees to be their experts, advocates, and ultimately influencers. But this can't merely be an extra responsibility pushed on already overworked employees. Building an incentive-based compensation structure is the single best way to guarantee employees are focused on the metric that mattered most: sales and customer satisfaction. The cannabis industry also worked hard to encourage the employee influencer model by highlighting bud tenders and promoting their expertise. As retailers look to bolster their brick and mortar sales in an increasingly digital world, it's essential to remember that customer experience begins with employee experience. By incentivizing employees and encouraging them to become experts and influencers, as the cannabis industry has done since its inception, everyone wins. Yeah, that's cool. I think that's a better approach.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough world when social media rules and people have influencers, 200 million people following them, and they can pull out one product and maybe
and sell 1 million of it in
an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have small business owners that we know, and we are a small business owner and have no employees.
You can't throw that kind of money around.
Yeah, we don't. Right.
To get
I
that
can't
kind
pay $10,000 to an influencer. I don't have that kind of money. I spent all my money on buying products to hopefully sell.
Right. We have to do some guerrilla marketing.
Right. So that'll be us.
Does anybody know what that is?
I love guerrilla marketing. Shit,
It's
I remember
old school.
Growing up.
It works.
I grew up in the Bronx, and I never forget the first time I saw what guerrilla marketing was, and found out years later that's what it was called.
Right.
But seeing it at 12 years old in the subways, watching young hip hop artists sell their tapes to people, on the subway. First, they would give it to you. Some people would give it to them for free. There'd be one song on there.
Just listen.
And listen to it, and then the next time you saw them, they were selling a full demo for $5 out of their backpacks. And you saw 15 to 20-year-old kids out there just preaching their hip hop in the subways. It was dope.
Cool.
I mean, I loved it. Watching that. That's when I learned that's what it was called, guerrilla marketing. I was like, holy shit! Give something away free for the first time. Give them a little taste. They come back the next time. They'll buy it if they like it.
Sure.
Guerrilla marketing at its finest. That's all it is. Here's something. All right, I posted this on my Instagram, and I just there's a lot of shit going on right now in the world when it comes to cannabis and cannabis laws, and a lot of countries, out there that are still just the United States is still not federally legal to them. But here's something that got me first. Biden's daughter-in-law reportedly shopped at cannabis dispensary, but wait, you ready for this? With Secret Service protection. I was fucking flabbergasted. When I had to post this, and I don't normally post political shit on my social media. It has to hit me hard for me to post something like this, and this was like a smack to every prisoner behind bars for a nonviolent cannabis crime. Your fucking daughter-in-law, and I don't even want to talk about his son because I don't give a fuck about him. He's a fucking crack addict. His daughter-in-law reportedly shopped at a cannabis dispensary with the Secret Service. Why aren't you arresting her? Hypocrisy.
Well, what did she do that was illegal? I'm stoned.
If she went into illegal, it's fine.
Right.
Okay. But here's the frustration. She went in with Secret Service agents.
Right.
That are paid by the federal government.
She's using them to go buy. But doesn't she have to get followed? She has to be protected, doesn't she?
Sure. But
there was more to that story, wasn't there?
No, there's not more to that story. There's not. She went into a California
dispensary. And brought her guys.
But the Secret Service went into a dispensary they're federally bound to not even be around one.
Right. But it's okay with her.
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
That's what you're getting at.
Just
preferential treatment, I believe that's called.
Thank you, Mrs. Weedman. Glad you're on my team.
I'm on it. Sorry, I was just really high, so
that's all right.
Struggling.
That's why I saved that last hit for you.
Thanks.
I struggled not to smoke it.
Yeah.
And I gave it to you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. June cannabis sales in 11 markets decreased slightly from May to 1.65 billion. Eastern markets, Florida, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in June. Year-over-year growth ranged from -9% in Maryland to 23.5% in Florida and Michigan. Note that Florida, Maryland, and Pennsylvania are medical only. So, Florida in June sales increased 3.2% to $192.4 million. They're only a fucking medical state.
Crazy, isn't it?
Illinois, previous published data release, state showed declined 3% from May and increased 5.4% in June. But July, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, a good month for Illinois. Maryland sales fell 3% from May to 41 million, down 9% from a year ago. Flower sales decreased 10%. Pre-rolls declined 9%, and concentrates fell 13%, while ingestibles grew 6% year over year. Massachusetts sales grew 0.9% and 9.4% compared to a year ago to 145 million. Man. Michigan, we had talked about on a prior episode, up 0.5%, 187.4 million. That's crazy. Pennsylvania sales fell 1.6% in June and 94.8 million, down 7.6. It's only medical there, and prices I heard are a little high. Taxes are a little high there. It's only medical, and then they can go now to New York or a couple other states that they can go and still get dispensary legal weed, and it's cheaper because it's recreational prices. I mean, it's not cheaper. Well, yeah, I guess it depends. Cheaper, probably not to have to worry about getting a license and any of that stuff. Right. Western markets, Arizona combined sales of 106 million were down 2.7%. I heard it's like fucking crazy down there right now. The market down there, like nuts. California sales declined 2.5% to 431 million. Colorado sales increased 0.6% in June compared to May. They've been dropping a lot. Nevada sales increased 1.7%, falling, though, 18.9% from a year ago to 66.4 million. Ooh. Oregon sales in June fell 2.3%. So there's some of the markets. But then you got Illinois, though, in July, hit second highest total, 135 million. 135 million in July. It was the next highest since December of 2021. Crazy. Second highest ever since recreational. That's big. That's just straight rec. That's not med. People were smoking this year because lockdowns are coming back again. Mask mandates are happening in California again. Partying too hard this summer. Here's something crazy. Arkansas should have cannabis going on the ballot for recreational, and the governor tells police to stand firm against cannabis legalization ballot initiative that's heading to court. Governor, man, you're screwing up, kid. You're screwing up. Canopy reports, now listen to this, this is not a million, this is billion. Canopy reports $2.1 billion loss on massive cannabis unit impairments. Wow. $2.1 billion. That's a lot of money. That's Canadian dollars. But that's 1.7 billion American dollars, though. Still, that's a lot of money. Oof. All right. So, this is Advocates demand Biden take cannabis action after Brittany Griner sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison for vapes. Okay, I've read the whole article about Brittany Griner. I feel absolutely horrible for her. I also feel absolutely horrible for the teacher that just got arrested. I also read an article. It was a girl years ago, a 19-year-old girl got arrested for cannabis in Russia, and she only got 2 months and some fines. I get all that. Here's the thing, okay? We are fighting for two people, or actually truly one person, to get out of Russia. Yes, is it ridiculous? It's 9 years. Yes, it shouldn't even be illegal there. I've already said all this. Every country has laws on cannabis. Whether we don't like them, whether we hate them, whether we think they're stupid, whether we think, look, in the Philippines, if you get caught with weed, you get shot and killed.
Yep.
So do we, and I'm sure there's people who have gotten shot and killed in the Philippines for weed. Okay? Do we see anybody uproaring about that? Like we're seeing.
Well, that was martial law. That was their government.
Right.
Said if you know someone is a drug dealer and you see them dealing drugs, you can just murder them.
Right.
That was nuts.
Right. So Russia has, whether we like Russia or not, whether you like or agree with, they're human beings over there too. Okay? They have their laws. Their laws are cannabis laws. It's illegal. Maybe they're a little bit stricter here in Russia than they are here in the United States. But it's still federally illegal in the United States. You still can go to jail in the United States for cannabis. There's 40,000 people in prison right now for cannabis in the United States. You cannot go to Russia, who hates us right now. They hate us. They hate the United States for us aiding another country. Why would they say, yes, here's your American who brought vapes to our country, and our laws say no cannabis, and here's back. You really think they give a fuck? No. Now this is even more of a stunt because they threw a couple of Americans in jail going, hey, fuck you. 9 years and 14 years for the teacher. Don't forget that. 14 years for a teacher. Okay? And we're worried about two people. I don't care if she's a fucking basketball player. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter that teachers, it doesn't matter. Okay? 40,000 prisoners here in the United States. We have our laws still. They have their laws. I am not mad. I'm upset for Brittany, and I'm upset for that teacher that they're stuck in jail for cannabis laws. What I'm really pissed off about is the hypocrisy of all of this bullshit that we keep on falling for as humanity. That's why I'm pissed off. And that's why I saved that that smoke for tonight, because I knew it was going to get me fired up. Right or wrong, I don't care what you believe in this stories that we're reading. It's one person. 40,000 people in the United States, don't forget, that are federally locked up. That gentleman in Louisiana who we've talked about for 1.5 ounces doing life in the United States of America. Life for 1.5 ounces. I don't care if you said you forgot to put the vapes were in your bag or not. If you knew you were going to Russia and you knew that they hated us right now, you would do nothing to fuck up. Whether you said you forgot they were in there or not, it's hard for me to believe because I've traveled across country and didn't sneak a vape in. I bought vapes in and I bought edibles in and I used them and I got them in. You were trying to bring a vape in because that's what you do. Admit to it. Okay? You forgot they were in there. Come on. That's like what I used to my parents when I was 12 years old going, oh, I forgot that was in there.
You don't leave vape sitting in your suitcase.
I'm not trying to
and
be.
Maybe she did.
I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Right or wrong. It's that you just don't make those mistakes when you're dealing with a country like Russia in the times that we're in right now. It was just a really dumb mistake, however it happened. And in the big picture of things, like Mr. Weedman's saying, in the big picture of things, she's one person that's getting a shit ton of media attention. When right here in our own country, where half of this country, it's legal to have cannabis, there's still thousands, tens of thousands of people sitting in jail for
40,000
for non-violent cannabis crimes. So carrying a joint and you get caught. Having, your stash in your car and you get caught. Stupid shit like that. People are serving life, 10 years, 20 years. All these ridiculous sentences that just are not justifiable, whether it's legal or not. It's stupid. You get rapists that get a minute. You get child sex offenders that get a home arrest with a bracelet on their ankle, and someone has a bag of fucking weed and they spend years in jail. Wow. So it's just mind-blowing that we're going to focus, and the president's writing letters and plea bargaining. I mean, it sucks.
and trade-offs.
Don't get us wrong. It completely sucks, right? She's in a foreign country. They're not going to treat her well. It's not going to be good for her and for the teacher that's there also. They're not going to have a good experience. Not that jail here would be a good experience, but at least she could maybe see family and friends. And people could come visit her when there's visit times. It's just going to be a different world. And it's awful.
And maybe it's not awful, though, there. We don't know.
We don't know. I would
Maybe it'd just be like a
will
regular prison like it is in the United States because of human right laws now.
Right.
I mean, it's all over the world. People are watching. I don't think it's going to be the best prison, but she's also a celebrity that goes to Russia to play basketball, too. Don't forget that. She was there to play basketball in the Russian Basketball League. She was invited there to play. So this could be also a publicity stunt on Russia, too, saying, hey, we got one of your players who came in and did this. But I'm sure she's well respected. It's not the first time she was going there to play either. So she was getting paid to go play basketball in Russia. So I don't think they're going to beat her up.
Right. Well, we don't know, right? Big picture, though, is shit needs to change.
100%.
Yeah. If you don't know about the Last Prisoner Project, you should search them on the internet and look them up and follow them on social media. They're doing phenomenal things to try to expunge people's records, help them get back into the workforce when they get let out of prison, fighting for the people who are in prison for nonviolent cannabis crimes. They're out there and they're just pounding the pavement every day, doing the right work to try to get these people out. And they're worth your time.
Right. And to me, here's the thing. You have Kamala Harris, too, speaking about this, and she got called out by Tulsi Gabbard, just calling people out for the pot. Kamala Harris literally put 1,500 people in jail for cannabis crimes in California, in San Francisco. 1,500. Joe Biden wrote laws on drugs. He was part of the whole war on drugs. A lot of this is all his fucking fault. That half of these fucking laws are here in this country. So don't fool yourselves out there. Don't fall for it. It's fucking voting time. It's fucking going into voting fucking November, man. The fucking primaries just came up. They're going to do whatever they can to make sure everyone looks good right now.
Right.
Oh, we're fighting for cannabis, people. Yeah, where? Show me. Not in this fucking country. You're out your mind. All right, moving on. How do you talk cannabis with your doctor? I got a doctor's appointment soon.
Yes. And this is an article written by a doctor. Now that you're incorporating cannabis into your lifestyle, whether to enhance wellness or alleviate chronic symptoms, it is time to talk with your doctor. You may wonder why disclosure is important. Truthfully, it has a lot less to do with science and a lot to do with a patient-physician relationship. Let me explain. To date, most general physicians are in the dark about cannabis. We do not know which prescription drugs interact with cannabis. We know very little about its long-term effects, or if the relief patients experience with cannabis is in part a placebo effect. Very few studies have been published to date. This is because cannabis, as a study drug, is unprofitable. Clinical trials cost tens to hundreds of millions. Therefore, the motivation to effectively study cannabis as a drug is limited. That means physicians are left with personal experience or anecdotal evidence shared by brave patients. For the inquisitive doctor, there are published case studies offering data for the relationship between cannabis and decreased use of opiates or how cannabis lessens seizures in people with a type of seizure disorder. These studies, burgeoning and informative, offer clinicians very little practical guidance. Ironically, you as a consumer know more about cannabis than your doctor. For one, many doctors are reluctant to experiment with cannabis because of the strict hospital and federal workplace drug policies. Second, physicians simply don't have the bandwidth to learn an entirely new medication class, especially one as vast and variable as cannabis. A cannabis consumer, on the other hand, can walk into a dispensary or trade show and educate themselves on the cannabis microcosm through books, subscriptions, magazines, online media, social media, and with the good old trial and error. A savvy consumer is practically a professional one. So where does this leave us? From my perspective, the cornerstone of a healthy patient-physician relationship is trust, shared decision-making, and an open communication. In an ideal world, you would tell me that you vape cannabis for insomnia, and I'd share with you that I have no clue how it will affect your sleep pattern or long-term health. I would also thank you for sharing and tell you to continue listening to your body and do what feels right. I may refer you to a cannabis physician or continue to manage your care by learning from you and others like you. Ultimately, sharing cannabis with your doctor is a personal decision. My hope is that together, doctors and patients will continue to experiment, learn, and grow together. These are interesting times, and what better time to strengthen your relationship with your healthcare provider?
Sweet.
I have told some physicians if it comes up and others not. And you get very mixed responses. And then there's always that like hovering concern of insurance and federal laws that govern, the greater body of health insurance. And if you have on record that you use cannabis, is it going to be a negative? Like, could they drop you as an insured patient because you use cannabis and it's now on record? So I don't know. I've actually asked doctors, like, I'll talk to you about this. I'm going to tell you that I use cannabis, but I'm going to ask you not to put it into my file. And you still, like now everything is digitized and you can see your doctor's notes. They still put it in there.
Right.
It depends on the doctor, I guess.
Right.
But anyway, it's interesting.
I hope more doctors prescribe it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them just don't understand it.
Don't understand
just
it.
like
Especially
people in general, right?
Some of the older doctors probably don't. Yeah. So, Switzerland. Oh, international news. Switzerland. Basically, we know they went med. People are asking about rec. So they're running a pilot program, which is pretty cool. Small, but they're starting off trying to check it out. But also for trial, cannabis must be organic, which I think is great. Produced in Switzerland and contain no more than 20% THC. Like I said, they're trying it out, man. They got to do it sometime. So $1 billion and create about 44. The income could be about $1 billion and can create around 4,400 full-time jobs. That's pretty dope. Good for them. Crazy. Canadian growers destroyed a record 425 million grams of cannabis last year.
Jeez.
425 million grams. That is fucking one, not only just the waste of weed, but how much water it took to fucking grow all that bud. I mean, and if they used soil or if they used whatever they used, nutrients, but the water on top of growing, just fucking wasteful. The cannabis industry is fucking, the corporate cannabis industry is fucking wasteful.
Well, a lot of industries are.
But this was supposed to be like
organic.
Well, not just even organic, but just like about keeping the earth safe, and it's not anymore. Just brutal, man. 425 million grams of cannabis. Give it away. Mm-hmm. Don't fucking waste it. Let people smoke it, man. You're losing the money anyway.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me? Give it away. Governments of the fucking world, man. You're fucking you wasted people's valuable resources to grow a plant that we could use as a medicine, and you wasted 425 fucking million grams. Get the fuck out of here.
Or why
It's
don't
my
they just-
birthday, so I'm acting like an asshole right now. I'm sorry, I'm 50, and I'm gonna act. This is the show. I'm gonna be like this, and then we'll go back to normal maybe on the next one. But fuck you, man. That is fucking bullshit. I just fucking disgusted. Let's go to something peaceful. I need to get back in my own.
Come back.
The tale
Come back
behind
to
the meaning of Puff the Magic Dragon, live
There you
by
go.
the sea.
All right, this is like 69 Woodstock. A minute ago,
Yes.
you were like 99 Woodstock.
No, I was about like 94. I was the mud pit.
You were getting into a little Limp Bizkit.
I want to break some shit.
I'm about to break. All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I did it all for the nookie.
That's right.
So I can get that cookie and stick it up here.
Okay. Here he goes. See?
All
He's definitely
right.
definitely Woodstock 99.
All right. The tale
right.
behind the meaning.
All right, Puffy. All right. The Tale Behind the Meaning of Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary. In 1962, one of the most endearing children's folk songs was written. Initially penned as a poem, the story of Puff the Magic Dragon was of a friendly flying serpent who lived by the sea in a land far away, Hanali, and enjoyed frolicking in the autumn mist. Recorded and released by folk trio Peter, Paul, and Mary, Puff the Magic Dragon became an instant hit, relishing in childhood innocence and imagination, and a special imaginary friend. In 1959, 19-year-old Leonard Lipton, then studying at Cornell University in New York, wrote a poem inspired by a 1936 poem by an American poet, Ogden Nash, The Tale of Custard the Dragon. Though poetry wasn't his forte, the physics major was convinced he could write a better dragon poem than Nash's and began typing his new story up on his roommate Peter Yarrow's typewriter. Yarrow found the poem and wrote Puff the Magic Dragon, based on Lipton's poem. By the time Yarrow formed Peter, Paul, and Mary with Paul Stuckey and Mary Travers, he already had the song Puff the Magic Dragon. Pulled from Lipton's original poem, Yarrow renamed the dragon Puff and gave his former roommate writing credit when the song was later released by the group in 1963. Already gaining some attention with their 1962 self-titled debut and hitting the charts with songs Lemon Tree and If I Had a Hammer, Peter, Paul, and Mary always included Puff in their live set since forming in 1961 and before releasing it. Upon its release, the song instantly reached the easy listening and R&B charts and peaked at number 2 on the Hot 100 chart. Puff's popularity is a phenomenon that I don't comprehend because Puff has not been promoted like Mickey Mouse, said Lipton in 2009, 50 years after you wrote the song. Puff the Magic Dragon got to where he is because people like him, not because of any marketing effort, because there had been little of that. In 1978, Puff the Magic Dragon became a movie, the story of a little boy who couldn't speak for a long time until a magic dragon helped him find his voice. In 2007, Scholastic released the first Puff the Magic Dragon children's book, using the lyrics of Yarrow and Lipton's penned song as their story. I think Puff the Magic Dragon is about a little boy and a dragon, said Lipton of the meaning of the song. I think there are strong parallels between the story told in the song and Peter Pan. You've got Jackie Paper, you've got Wendy, you've got Hanali, you've got Neverland, and you've got pirates. Puff sadly declines in his cave, which reminds me of Tinkerbell needing to be revived. There are parallel elements, and the theme is similar. Peter Pan is a boy who wouldn't grow up, and believe me, I don't blame him. Jackie Paper, though,
Don't grow up. It's a trap.
Jackie Paper, though, does grow up, and so leaves Puff. Through the marijuana-induced haze of the 1960s, an urban legend arose soon after the release of the song, speculating that the true meaning of Puff the Magic Dragon was a euphemism for smoking weed with the character Jackie Paper, linked to rolling papers. Lipton vehemently denied that the song was about drugs because Puff was more innocent than that. It centered around childhood innocence and not getting high. When he wrote Puff at Cornell, Lipton says students were more interested in going to hootenannies than smoking joints. In a 2015 interview, Lipton added, "A song for little kids that advocates the use of drugs would not be appropriate. Advocating marijuana for little kids is not a good thing." Lipton went on to produce 25 films and create a number of patents under his name, including his invention of the stereoscopic technique of filming movies in real 3D, which was used in the 1980s. The artist also won various awards, including one from the Smithsonian Institute for his invention of Crystal Eyes, the first shuttering eyewear for stereoscopic displays in 1996. To this day, Lipton still receives royalties from his favorite dragon. "Puff was my financier," shared Lipton. "He funded my work in electronic stereoscopic displays. Puff, unlike my other investors, never asked for anything back. He never grilled me at the board meeting. He never lectured me about having to make a profit. He never told me I had to cut out projects I loved. He was never greedy or a pain in the ass. He never lied to me. He never changed the deal at the 11th hour. He was always respectful. Puff's been a generous, forgiving, and kindly investor, one who has never stopped giving. So thank you, Puff. Thank you, Jackie Paper. And thank you, Hana Lee. I'm heading your way."
To a land called Honolulu. Puff,
I didn't know that.
The magic dragon lives by the sea. God, I remember watching that as a kid.
That was great.
I didn't realize till, I mean, I was young when I saw that. I didn't even, living in the Bronx in the basement watching it. My grandparents were young. And didn't realize it was about cannabis probably until high school when I read an article about it then. So kind of cool. I was going to read about Burner being on the cover of Forbes, but I'll get that on the next one because it's a very sad day today.
It is.
My birthday is always going to remind me of my first love. Mrs. Weeman, you're my soulmate. Love you to the day I die.
I'm not jealous. This is okay.
You have your George Clooney moment. I have my moment. And I've talked about her on the show, and she was using cannabis, and it probably helped her live a little bit longer. Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, I know. It's so sad.
We were listening
We
to...
grew up with Grease. I mean, that was like the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I want to
You've always talked about her.
Oh,
like
she was my first crush, and I was on social media today watching all people who I know, all these guys posting. She's my first crush. She was my first crush. She was literally a lot of men's because she was the golden girl, the goody two shoe girl, but very beautiful, like the blonde,
charming,
the
and
just
sweet.
When she came on that the first scene of Grease, I was like. And then you didn't know she was going to sing. And then she sings, and you're just like 7, 8. I think I was 7, 8 years old maybe when Grease came out. You just melted. Like hopelessly devoted to you. I mean, it's like every guy's dream. And she's writing the paper in the water, and she sees his face. Like, I know the fucking Grease, but you watched it as a young man, a young boy, and you're just like in love. That was my first crush.
Yeah.
My first crush. I'll never forget her.
I think you and many, many, many other boys.
Like I said on Facebook today and social media, every one of my guy friends, my first crush, oh my God, I can't believe she's dead. No girls. There was not. Maybe my mom might have posted something about it, but I did not see one woman post about Olivia Newton-John. It was all guys. It was all men. Posted my first crush, the love of my life. I can't believe she's gone. Let's get physical. I mean, like throwing lines from not only just Grease movie songs, but from Xanadu, and we played a bunch of songs from her today. And you were singing. Even our daughter O-Dog was singing a couple songs too. It was. My first crush is gone. That's so sad. I never had another like movie crush or woman crush. After that, that was the only one I can truly remember. And I think like there's beautiful women in movies, and yes, but this was like heartfelt crush. This was like
okay, Mr. Weedman.
But I'm just trying to say this is my first on my birthday. August 8th is my birthday. She passed, and that's going to be a memory for me now. Like
every year on your birthday.
Yeah.
And think about. And I never thought about it until we were talking about it today. Like I've always known that you've had a little crush on her, but I never correlated. Her name is also the name of our daughter.
Our daughter.
Is that why you were like the name?
When you said Olivia Newton-John, when you said Olivia, sorry.
We're going to name our daughter Olivia Newton-John Romano.
When you said that, I was like, I'm not arguing with you at all. There wasn't even a moment in my mind.
But I never, until this moment, all of these years later, I never thought about that.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah, it's a sad day. A good day, but also a sad day. And I'll always remember she was my first crush and my only, crush at that age. I cannot remember one. I don't know. So here's to you, Olivia Newton-John. I wish I could play your song, but it'd probably get frozen on my account. I played a song with Colors last week, and YouTube notified me. It's like one more time, and you're gonna get booted. Blah 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 blah. Kind of bullshit. So
Censorship.
Yes, Olivia Newton-John. May you rest in peace. May you rest in good music. You'll be my first crush. Mrs. Weedman, you got anything else to say?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
All right.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Paul. Happy birthday to you.
Now you all know my real name, too.
I think everybody already knows it.
If you go on 8decades.com and you read our bio, you know it.
Happy birthday, Mr. Weedman.
Thank you, Mrs. Weedman. Love of my life. Appreciate you 50 years, half a century on this earth. I love you all out there in the world. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you sticking with me. 50 years. Some people have been with me more than others, but enjoy the ride. Enjoy the journey, everybody out there. Smoke big, fat doinks. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puffing away.
Puff, puff, now.